maybe I'm foolish, or maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. But I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see it clearer, or are you deceived in what you believe? 'Cause I'm only human after all, and you're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Some people got the real problems. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Don't ask my opinion, don't ask me to lie, and beg for forgiveness for making you cry. For making you cry. 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Oh, some people got the real problem. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above, I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human. I made mistakes. I'm only human. It's all it takes to put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. 'Cause I'm no prophet or Messiah. You should go looking somewhere higher. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. I'm only human. I do what I can. I'm just a man. I do what I can. Don't put the blame on me. Don't put your blame on me.
Stream on Facebook at the same time. So, I got to learn how to navigate this thing. I'm not a professional yet, but I appreciate those that have subscribed to the YouTube channel, Racist Entertainment, and those that, like, comment, share the post, things of that nature. Uh, Salute, Pretty Problem, Nisha. Thank you for being here. Man, there's a lot been going on. I'm pretty sure everyone has heard about the situation that took place in Frisco, Texas. The day that it happened, a few days ago, I did a live on it, the tragedy in Frisco, and it was more about the YN mentality, how it doesn't discriminate, and because I was looking at, based off the details that we had at the time, the rumors, the facts, and all those things, I made my assumption just like anyone else. I gave my opinion about it, but I also stated facts, and since then there's been more details that have come out, and we're gonna get into some of those details, and it's gonna be an open panel. Anyone want to come up and chime in on what we're talking about? You're always welcome. You can hit the link. The link is posted at the top of the chat, And so before I dive into this topic tonight about the tragedy in Frisco, part two, Americans divided. For some people they may be new because I'm just my first time streaming on Facebook at the same time on YouTube. So before I get into what we're going to talk about, I want to first kind of explain what I mean by racist entertainment, because some people may not know. You can get the full explanation in the first video that I did when I first started this channel. And of course, you can see scrolling at the bottom, like racist being used as an acronym. Salute, TriStar, salute. Thank you for being here. Racist as an acronym meaning rearranged concepts, interpretations, stereotypes, and thinking. So that's the acronym. But when I first came up with this idea, I was incarcerated back in 1999, and I wanted a record label. I always been into music or whatever, but I wanted something that would stand out, draw attention, as well as make people think. So I came up with Racist Records and Entertainment. Moved forward, I got out, got in the entertainment industry, promoting shows, mostly in the Denison Sherman area of Texas, Louisville, shows in Dallas, things of that nature. But I've kind of somewhat been distant from that lately. But I also want to see how I can contribute to society in some form of fashion, with my experiences as well as my knowledge. And so I went back to Racist Records, and the way that I came up with race, I was looking at the word racist, and I said, you know what, let me break this word down, because other words that has ist on the end, they can be broke down as well. So I took race, which is class of kind of people unified by common interests, habits, or characteristics, and then I took the suffix ist, ist, and ist means like when you add it to a word, one that adheres to or advocates a specified doctrine, system, or code of behavior. So when you take the word race and ist and put it together, you have one that advocates a code of behavior for people unified with common interests. So basically, when you're looking at the real breakdown of the word racist, it has nothing to do with someone hating another person or bias towards another person for the color of their skin or heritage or anything of that nature. What I mean? It's more of a unifying word, but sometimes words have had this effect on us because of what we've been taught, and we don't take the time to break these things down for ourselves. Thus, we remain ignorant, and we use these things and create certain emotions and things by calling people different things, but we never go to the root of words or the etymology of words. So, salute, Fancy 405. Thank you for being here. And so that's what I did with racist. So when I say that I'm racist, it doesn't mean in your, I guess you could say, conventional sense that we know the definition of the word, but what the word really means and what it means to me, one that advocates a code of behavior for people unified with common interests. And I think that has no skin color involved or anything, because we all can be unified with common interests, and we all can advocate a code of behavior that would push society forward more so than what we are seeing that's taking place right here today on this particular topic that we're going to talk about, Americans being divided. So with that being said, uh, kind of like a recap to what we were talking about. I want to say, was it Wednesday, maybe a few days ago, uh, at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas, not too far from Dallas, a little north of Dallas. A kid, kids had a altercation, some form of another. We don't know the details. There've been various things been said, what caused the altercation or whatever. But we do know that, one kid ended up stabbing another kid in his heart, and this kid passes away. It just so happened that the kid that stabbed the other kid, Karmelo Anthony, was a black kid, 16, 17 years old, in various reports. I believe he was like 17. Was a black kid, a senior in high school, standout, football player, everything, what I mean? Nothing to give you the impression that, this was a bad kid, And the kid that passed away was Austin Metcalf, happened to be a white kid, and of course, from what we saw back then, and even now, was a good kid. Like in school or whatever, played football at church, all these different type of things. So nothing gave us the indication that either of the kids were bad kids based on the fact that they were in school. They was standout students, like 3.7 GPA, or the other like three something GPA or whatever. So when this took place, it was just like, man, mind boggling and shocking to everyone. Like, how could this happen? And where it happened, it happened at school, and parents are very concerned because I know some people personally that their children were at that track meet. So, and we're going to get into that. That's a basically recap of what happened, and we're going to get into other little details that came out. Rumors, all these type of things. And salute East Atlantic, salute. Thanks for being here. Ready, Red. Salute, salute. Thank you for being here. So we're gonna get into that because my stance and my position on it has been very controversial. I received some backlash. I even had some phone calls or what have you. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna state my position on it, and and it's open for debate. But one thing that we can't debate is the fact that right now there's a kid that's incarcerated, whether it's a county jail, or whatever. I've just heard recently that, over the past hour or so, I don't know how true it is, haven't fact checked it, that he's made bond. I don't know that. But we know that there's one kid that was in jail or in jail, and there's another kid that's in the morgue. So those are the facts that we all can agree on. And we're going to get into further facts and see if we can agree on those things. And if we don't agree on it, then, I'm going to check myself and see if there's something wrong with me. And I want you to check yourself and see if there's something wrong with you, and then we'll go from there. But before I get further into this presentation show, whatever you want to call it, I'm gonna bring up my partner, my friend, my brother. He's always somewhat co-hosting with me on these lives since I've started doing them, and my brother Roy 9G. What's good, bro? Can you hear me? I can't hear you, bro.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. What's good?
Hey, what's good, bro? This is a heavy subject, but I'm glad you're talking about it because I do have an opinion too.
Okay. Well, we're gonna dive right into it. We're streaming on Facebook as well as YouTube. I hope, it's my first time trying to use Facebook as well. I had to get my daughter, Queen 88, to help me through this. So shout out to Queen 88 for the help, the support, and everything, showing me how to work or navigate these things. But yeah, I believe we all go on Facebook as well. So there's been a lot coming out, man. There's been some things that's been said, far as and first I want to look at Carmelo, you know what I mean, as a person, the things that have been said about him negatively, as well as the positive things about the kid, and I want to look at him. And then I just said some things about him, as far as him, as far as his grades and football player and, all these type of things. Nothing gave us the indication that, this was a bad kid. But there's been some controversy because it seems like the media, and myself included, the last live I did, part one to this, I showed a picture of him possibly. Like I said, I didn't know it was real or not. I'm just saying what was out there of him holding some type of gun. You know what I mean? Just other little things that were being said about him, and a lot of black people, man, like really feeling some type of way about that. You know what I mean? Like, y'all paint a picture of this kid like he's a thug, so on and so forth. Like there's white media that's doing this, trying to demonize this kid. You know what I'm saying? So I received some backlash on that because of a live that I did this morning, just strictly on Facebook, addressing black people's stance on that. So, I mean, how do you feel about, or what do you think about the way Carmelo has been portrayed through the media, from what you know? Can you hear me, bro? You might have to drop out and come back in. So, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you. Did you
All
hear what
right.
I'm asking
Yeah,
you?
I can hear you fine. So All right, so I'm coming through. So I did some research on it, so I saw what's going on, right? And it hit me. I think it hit me a little bit before then too. That it's a tragedy all the way around, right? It's a tragedy, okay. But at the same time, this is the issue with us in America and us and how we have to deal with America and why it's shocking. I mean, black people are extremely patriotic, right? We love America, love our country, and we've just socialized some things. So we've dealt with the system. I mean, what's the rule of law supposed to be? He's supposed to be innocent to proven guilty, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what he looked like in any pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if he was a gangster running around with 10 felonies, 10 cases before his or the super innocent kid. He's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? Because of what happened and the fact that somebody passed away, it was almost made that he was guilty off the just because of the situation happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we live in a we live in a state that says it's a stand your ground law, right? Correct?
Yeah, I hear you.
So think about the rush to judgment that them even put them in jail. They supposed to do an investigation first to figure out what happened, right?
Yeah.
I mean, those are how the law is supposed to work. They supposed to investigate before they even put a charge on somebody because they don't know what really happened.
Well, according to what was reported by the news, is that I mean, basically the kids after he ran off, he went to law enforcement and he admitted, yeah, I did it, and they have a body there, a kid fighting for his life or whatever. So the charges are gonna come, period. You know what I mean? He did admit that, I did it. Let me read one of these comments. Fancy 405 said he was a bully. Previously, Fancy 405 said, I heard about this. They are damaging that young man's character. Uh, it was a airsoft gun. You know what I mean? And I heard the twins tried to jump him, and we're gonna get into all of that. But it's good that you spoke about the law. You know what I mean? And that's where I was. That was my excuse me. That was my perspective on it. That I was coming from because I didn't want to deal with all the rumors, whether he was sitting under the tent, which that's pretty much been established of another school, you know, some question, well, why was he there? What right did they have to tell him to move? You know what I mean? Then somebody said he got permission from one of the coaches to go over there to be with a friend or whatever. But dealing with the law, you know, before we get into the law, I want to add this here. Let me remove this, man, so we can kind of look at this. According to Texas law, the law restricts possession of location restricted knives, those with blades over 5.5 inches in certain locations, including schools and school sponsored activities. Frisco Independent School District Code of Conduct prohibits students from possessing or using a razor, box cutter, chain, or any other object used in a way that threatens or inflicts bodily injury to another person. The consequences: students found in possession of location restricted knife on school property or at school sponsored event would face disciplinary action, including expulsion or placement in DAEP. Penalties: unlawful possession of a location restricted knife in a school can result in up to 10 years in prison and or a $10,000 fine. So that's the law, right? And when we go into the law, far as we know, one kid lost his life. This kid admitted it. Yeah, I did it. He also asked the question, or said he asked the question. It was that self-defense. So we don't know what details he gave him to make him first, and then say, I mean, was that self-defense? So maybe they
Sure.
did jump on him.
Sure, we don't know that. That's the whole thing. We don't know the circumstances of the situations. So,
We do know that one kid is dead. One kid
I
admitted.
mean, we do know that's the result of the interaction, right?
But we
Okay.
do know that
All right.
he had a knife. We know that.
Are we? Look, so we. But look, let's talk
Listen,
about.
I don't want to
Let's talk
argue.
about that. So look, that's
We're
fine.
gonna get into it. Check it out. We're gonna get into it. Let's look at what we do know and how the law applies to
All
what we
right.
do know.
Can I counter that? Yes, he's wrong for having a knife. Correct. Right.
No, he broke the law, right?
Yeah, that's fact. So he could be.
That's facts. He broke
So
the law.
look, he's punishable. I agree. He's punishable for that alone. Right. Okay, that's fine. But there have been instances where people can have illegally held weapons, but in defense of their life, they weren't charged with murder. They have to face the fact that they're not supposed to have this gun. But if we go, I mean, is the state a stand your ground state?
And I'm gonna get into that. I'm gonna get into that. I got a counter for that.
I'm just saying these laws have to apply both ways to everybody, right?
I understand that. And I will get into that, this standing ground thing and all of that, because I know some situations that took place like that, and that would have no bearing upon, what took place. But we do know that by law that he shouldn't have had a knife in school, for one. You know what I mean? He was facing 10 years in prison for possibly even getting caught with that knife in school. We do know that a kid is in the morgue, another kid is in jail. We do know that this kid has been charged with Texas Penal Code 19.02, murder. We know that. We also know, and some may not know, that he acts is that self-defense. So that would be his logic in what he did, right? He according to what they reported. So some people may not know that Texas Penal Code 9.31 and 9.32 covers self-defense. So you have a right to defend yourself. But there's a thing within there to where you can have excessive force when you try to defend yourself. For an example, if I punch you, slap you, you pulling out a gun shooting me, that's excessive. You see what I'm saying? That's beyond what they would deem self-defense. Now, if you punch me or slap me back, you know what I mean, beat me up real bad, you got a good claim for self-defense if I passed away. So we know these are two kids, whatever the encounter, whatever took place happened. But we do know that Austin didn't have a weapon. We do know that Karmelo had a knife. He chose to respond to whatever it was, throwing his backpack down, breaking his phone, whatever it is. He chose to respond with pulling that knife out and stabbing Austin. So to me, and based off the way I understand the law, I don't know if self-defense is going to be a good claim.
Okay, can you hear me?
I'm listening.
All right. So valid point. And I'm not saying, look, how about this? I'm not even saying that's what happened. My thing is, I'm not even sure he should be charged this fast because did they really investigate or they just made a determination because one person is deceased that okay, we gonna just charge the other person with murder.
Well,
Murder is a
if he said he did it,
okay,
and
but he made the thought process is it self defense, right? So we don't know what. So look, so yeah, you're saying it was unreasonable, which may be true, but at the same time, rumors have it that they were trying to jump him. So what level is expected when I have a couple of people trying to beat me up
but we know
or
this,
cause me harm?
and East Atlantic says right here what I was going to get into anyway. Seems like he was prepared off of previous iterations. You know what I mean? We know that when he left the house that morning, he had something on his mind, right? Because he packed a knife to school. So
What if
whether
he had already? What if he was already in the habit of packing it every day after
it don't
when
matter.
that
Whatever
certain
the
event
first
happened?
day he started taking it to school, if it wasn't that day, he'd been taking it previously. We know that every morning that he left, he knew that it was potential for him to use this knife. If he had any encounters, problems, or whatever it was, he didn't take the knife to cut his food and lunch or nothing like that.
Sure.
He intended
So
on using
what
it.
propels him to have to carry this knife?
Exactly. That's one of the points. But the fact is, he did feel comfortable carrying a knife. So the intentions behind carrying a knife wasn't to use the knife to eat, right? It was to use the knife for defense, whether it's a dog walking down the street or
But
whatever it
bro,
was.
just because he's carrying this knife doesn't mean he's actually thinking about using it on somebody, right? You were a kid, a young person who carried weapons. Like,
And and I intend on using them though. You know what I mean? Like,
but I'm sure you knew young people who would carry them who didn't intend on using them, but they did carry them for a certain level of cachet.
well, I think you're talking about going to school here.
Hey,
You
well,
know,
how about that? Look, I don't even think that. I don't even think it's the. I don't even think that intent, man. I think what really matters is how the situation unfolded, and we don't really know how the situation unfolded, right?
yeah, we do know how it unfolded. We know that he pulled out a knife and he stabbed Austin in his heart, and Austin died. We do know how it
Yeah,
unfolded.
I
See,
mean,
this is what people don't understand about the law. All this stuff that he was being bullied, or they took his backpack, or threw his back phone out, all of that stuff is not going to be justification for killing someone, bro. It's not. It's not going to
bro,
be justification
bro.
for killing
I'm
someone.
I'm saying it's not going to be for him. If the situation was reversed and it was,
You can't
it's
say that.
unfortunate we have to play this out. If the situation was reversed, it, it'll be deemed as acceptable that he had to defend himself, right?
To what extent?
I'm just saying, like we've seen this over and over in our country, where
No, I haven't.
a white person in defense of himself can murder a black person, like the boy in New York choked out the guy on the train. He went home. You know what I'm saying? Like uh, we had a situation out here where in
Did he
Austin,
choke them out?
yeah, he choked him out. Remember, you know the thing that happened in New
He
York.
was
He
defending
choked.
himself.
Was he?
I don't know. I'm just saying, but what we're talking about a weapon being involved here. That's the difference. If it's hand to hand combat and you defending yourself and this person happened to die or whatever, I get that.
Okay. See, this is the whole issue with the system. Let's talk about Texas, where the white guy in Austin, he shoots down the white couple in the protesting Black Lives Matter, right? And then he goes to trial and get convicted, right? And then the governor uh, says he didn't agree with the conviction. I think he had like 25. He did like under a year, 25 years. Gave him gun rights back.
Okay, so see now we were talking about fundamental flaws and the way the governor
But you know what? But you know
philosophy. That's
what? His
totally
his
different.
defense was stand your ground.
But here's the thing: you can't claim stand the ground when you start off illegally. Like myself, if I'm a felon in possession of a gun, I go out here
But,
and
but
somebody doing whatever to me, and I'm defending myself, I'm getting jumped or whatever, and I start shooting those people. My standing ground defense is not going to
bro,
stand up.
Kyle Rittenhouse took some guns. He was illegally carrying weapons. He goes into uh, a protest riot area and shoots down two people and goes home at court for standing your ground. And these are stand your ground states. These things happen, right? So I don't know what happened. I'm saying it should be an investigation. And basically, look, right now he's almost guilty until proven innocent. he needs to go to trial before anybody we can really say like what really happened, so everybody can see how it plays out. Because who knows how it plays out right
Yeah,
now?
I don't see how black people are making the assumption that he's almost guilty before going to trial, where no one that I have seen from law enforcement, the parents, or anything has said anything about him being guilty. They have basically said, let justice take place. There's consequences to his actions, and he's gonna have to live to that. I think that we're the one that's trying to take how we think the media is portraying him and saying that the media is portraying him as being guilty. No one has said that he's guilty. No one has said that he getting a raw deal. You know what I mean? But we can't even agree on the fact that a crime has been committed. You know what I mean? We can't agree on the fact that a crime has been committed based on the law. Because we want to turn it into a black and white issue. I guarantee you, if that
Bro,
was
like, look, are those examples I gave you? Those aren't enough. Like, let's talk about
listen,
Kyle Rittenhouse as a prime
but,
example,
I
right?
get all of that. But my thing
All
is
right.
this here. My
So
thing
I'm
is this
saying, like,
here.
all I'm saying is that
You're telling me what the governor did afterwards.
look,
Did he not get
all right,
convicted?
Kyle
Did he
Rittenhouse,
not get convicted?
he went to trial and he won, right? Okay, nobody else had a gun. So like, I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, so somebody has to be the arbitrary decision making on like what level of violence is equitable to a different level of violence if they had an altercation, right? Right. So that's what happens, right? That's the problem with it. So like, look, so we live in this. We talk about this on your show all the time. Like, yeah, we black people do have all this crime rate because we have a lower economic community, but white people are just as violent, if not more. The whole thing is we have a violent culture in America as a whole. So when things play out, like it can it can turn ugly because everybody wants to be
So being in school, being a good football player, and good grades and all this stuff don't even matter because each and every one of them kids, based on the culture of America, has that potential to do what he did, basically.
No, I'm saying it should be enough, but we live in a culture that promotes a certain level of violence as a problem solver. You know what I'm saying? This is what This is what it is.
So why are and that's one of my points. Why are we so reactionary? Why do we wait till something happened, then we want to speak up about it when we don't address the root of this culture of violence?
I don't think most people even are aware that like this is such a norm. I don't think people really aware that like, hey man, uh,
What do you mean they ain't aware?
I mean they think this is the normal life here. I mean, which it is. Like,
So if they think it's normal, then don't speak up when something like this happens. Let it happen. Don't turn it to no racial thing. This is America. This is what's supposed to happen. If they think it's normal, don't have anything to say. Don't make it a racial issue. This is normal. Because if a black kid would have did it to a black kid, I don't see this same energy of this black kid being demonized. I never see it. I post
nah, you're
videos.
right. You're right. I mean
I do lives about it.
that is
Nobody speaks up about that. But
that
then
is a major
black
component.
and
The
white
fact
kids,
that
and here come Black Lives Matter.
that is a major component. Facts. I agree.
It's ridiculous. But anyway, uh, who was that? Salute Blondie Queen 55. Thank you. I'm a I'm a I'm gonna post some things up here that I think kind of contributes to what's going on. And I believe this is supposed to be from his uncle, man, but it was a post on Dallas crime and breaking news. And now I don't know if this is uncle or not, but it's a guy named Hayes. He talks about the truth about Carmelo. It's totally normal for students from different schools go sit under the tents of others. You know what I mean? Carmelo was there with his friends, wasn't causing any trouble or trespassing. You know, the claim that one of the twins had never seen Carmelo before, that's a flat out lie. No student has the authority to kick another student out of his school-owned tent. The school owns the tent, not the twins. Karmelo is a track athlete. The twins are not. He had no idea they would be there. He said, now here's the part they don't want you to know. The twins didn't just ask him to leave. They actually tried to jump him. Before attacking him, they attempted to grab his belongings, broke his phone, and stomped on it. The twins have a reputation for being bullies. Salute, Beef Sector. So think about it. If two 200-pound attackers came after your child, what would you want them to do? And still, the internet is trying to ruin Carmelo's reputation. They said, then I had to get another part from somewhere else. It said, and yet, despite everything, the media is trying to destroy Carmelo's name. They keep posting a picture of him with an airsoft gun, not even a real firearm, which is another subject, to manipulate public perception, as if the media put him in that picture with an airsoft gun. You know, what was his idea of even posting that? Reason. Why? Because they want to paint him as a criminal instead of a victim. Let's talk about who Karmelo really is. A respectful, well-mannered young man, a 4.0 student with multiple college offers, kid with zero criminal history, not even a blemish, a son raised in a loving home by parents who taught him right from wrong. A life was lost, and that is tragic. But what's also tragic is the way the media is twisting this story to fit their own agenda. Karmelo defended himself against violent aggressors. This is not a crime. Do not let the media race bait you. Do not let them manipulate the facts. How you feel about it?
I think it has to play out.
What I don't understand is now I understand during a trial you will have character witnesses come up, you know, during the punishment phase, things of that nature. I've been through a trial. During the punishment phase, tell about how good of kids you are and, you know, your school grades, this, that, and another. But, you know, that has no bearing upon the facts of the trial. Punishment phase, all of that could be taken into consideration if convicted. But as far as the facts of what took place and whether it constitutes murder or self-defense, all of those things that people are bringing up and arguing and debating about, the media portraying him, this, that, and another, will have no bearing upon that. You understand what I'm saying?
No, look. If it's we don't know what happened. That's the whole thing. Like, we don't know if the uncle story is true, or we don't know. Nobody knows. But if
we
it's a
do know
video
this,
out,
though.
hold on. Let me say this: if it's a video out, and it's two dudes jumping on one guy, and this one guy ends up stabbing somebody, right? That depiction is way different than what some people might have in their minds right now.
I don't think that if we're talking about out in public, some adults, yeah. But I don't think that anybody ideal depiction at a school event where other people, kids are there, and a kid pulls out a knife, whatever the altercation was, and stab a kid, and this kid dies. Who mind is gonna? I mean, like,
Yeah, I mean
how can you change how this kid should be looked at?
that's mutual combat. They combat. They out here fighting and whatever. And yeah, he takes it to another level, right?
Thank you, thank you.
But yeah, he takes it to another
An
level.
illegal
But
level,
this is
an
the
illegal
stand your
level.
ground. I didn't make the laws. This is stand your ground state. If they're gonna have the benefit of the law, east side, everybody's supposed to have the same benefit of the law, right? So just think about the fact they even charged him with a murder. It's probably more like manslaughter or something, right? They didn't go there. He didn't go there. We don't. Well, look, how about we don't know what happened, right? But there are different circumstances of people losing their lives too, right?
Go ahead. I'm doing something, bro. Yeah, I hear you.
That's all. And so I'm just I just feel like That it should he should be. I feel like he should be innocent till they prove him guilty in court.
Well, he is innocent. That don't mean he ain't gonna get the charge. You know what I mean? That don't mean that when the facts come out during trial or whatever, they won't. I'm pretty sure in the indictment and everything else that he may, there may be lesser charges included. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
they got to charge him right now with 19.02.
that's it. I mean, I can we understand that's part of the process when it comes to us all the time, right? So I don't look. It shouldn't be a racial thing, and it is shameful that we as a community, when it comes to the average black kid on the black kid issue, it's just we just accept it as anything, right? But this all relates to how we understand as a community that he's not going, he's not whatever, even no matter what happened, the likelihood of him getting a fair trial is not going to be well. Like for him to for him to he need a video to come out with them kicking his ass, right? And yeah, you may say it shouldn't make it ain't gonna make it will make a difference because they'll be like, oh, he tried to get him off for him or whatever, right? Yeah, he'll still probably go to jail and do some time, but it's gonna be varying degrees of what happens here. I mean, I so hate it for him because like two families are really devastated right now. You understand? Like the white kid's family, and then this kid and his family, and this kid's world, his world has changed overnight. You know what I'm saying? He
Infamous
had,
said, according to news, the white boy attempted to put hands on him to move him from opposing team area. The fact that the white boy physically was moving Anthony was wrong. Hopefully, the courts have sympathy for Anthony because the other dude did put his hands on him. Uh, East Atlantic says, hopefully, they don't say it was premeditated. Facts. And Infamous went on to say, you had a white dude and his brother moving a black dude from where he was sitting could be a racial incident. And I'm not saying that, I mean, we've been young before. You know what I mean? We done been in environments with young white kids and young black kids, and there be confrontations, and all of it be racially motivated and all that type of stuff. So I'm not ruling out that there's a possibility it was racially motivated. Especially if he wasn't bothering them or whatever, and what's wrong with him sitting under the tent. You know what I'm saying? And all this stuff. I'm not ruling that out. I'm just looking at the fact that an illegal weapon was used during this so-called mutual combat that everyone is saying, and a kid lost his life, another kid admitted to doing it. So what do black people want the state to charge him with? When the facts at the time on that day, those were the facts. You know, carrying a knife to school, stand your ground. Basically, like you can stand your ground, or you don't have a duty to retreat or anything of that. At any location, schools or whatever, as long as you're not provoking the situation, I get that. But you also can't be engaged in illegal criminal activity for stand your ground. You're supposed to be in the right. You see what I'm saying? When him taking that knife to school, he had already crossed over into illegal criminal activity. You see what I'm saying? That's the stand your ground. You can't be involved in illegal criminal activity then claim stand your ground. He had already broke the law by taking the knife to school. So I don't know how good of a defense that's going to be. You know what I mean? Like you say, it's a tragic situation. I hate it. For both of the young men. But it also takes me to what type of mentality is out here amongst these kids to where they're willing to go to any extent. And I know that mentality. But we're gonna get into a couple other things, man, that I saw, and I think that I don't know if it helps the situation or it hurts it. But first, let's hear this
The
first.
kid was mad. My son is not here anymore, and I don't.
I don't want to play the whole thing. That's the mom. She talking about, how she feel and what took place.
Kids
But I want to
at
get
the
to this right here because I saw something earlier. The brother that was
they're there together. So, but just to put your arms wrap around the support. Says Hunter. Did you want to talk to him?
Oh, man. I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you. I'm so sorry. He's a good kid. We just got a little altercation. That's really it, but he has a good heart. Everyone knows. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one just took my brother. Just
back. I heard something here.
He's a good kid.
This is sad.
We just got a little altercation. That's really it, but he has.
And did he say we had an altercation, or
Yeah, it sounds like he said we had
had an altercation?
Nah, he said it sounded like he said we had an altercation, and that was really it.
Let me go back a little bit.
So look, that's what I'm saying. Look, man, this is terrible.
Let me run it back. Let's see.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. He's a good kid. We just got a little altercation. That's really it, but he has a good heart. Everyone knows. Everyone around here knows he's a great kid. He just one mistake from that dude, and just took my brother. He didn't deserve it. No one deserves a loss from a family like that. I know people that lose their family members all the time, but I just didn't know it's gonna be mine so soon. My best friend and my brother my whole life, but if y'all could just not y'all, sorry. Just thank y'all for just comforting us, and the Frisco area has been comforting my family and me, and I just really appreciate everything that everyone's done. It's a really hard loss, but we're gonna get through it with my family, so we'll just stay together. I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody like.
And there he goes to talk about the relationship with his brother. I looked at this earlier and I wasn't sure if I heard him say we had an altercation or he just had an altercation, But I don't know. Let me see something. I don't know.
I mean, we did
All
everything
right, so
together.
what do you think about
Clean
that?
dishes together, do yard work together, sports. You name anything in the world, it's always us two and one thing. So you're always just basically one person.
You guys just a few minutes apart?
4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Austin was first by 4 minutes. He got stuck in me.
So technically your bigger brother.
Yes, ma'am. He does a lot of big brother stuff around. He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what. It's just really heartbreaking to see someone that cares for you that much and does everything even by your side no matter what, just pass away like that.
Mm-hmm. Your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, what happened?
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. He's like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So
Yeah.
that's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
It was just senseless.
it was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like that man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time.
Well, that's his side of the story. What was you about to say?
So here's the thing, right? So look, that I understand what you're saying about the prior illegal act, but the prior illegal act don't always. That's not always. That don't work like that. Because look, say some dudes out here selling dope, right? And you could be out here selling drugs or whatever, and you end up killing somebody in self-defense. Just because you get caught with the drugs don't mean that your self-defense claim ain't held, right?
Well, I believe that it will take part in overruling that self-defense. You engage in illegal activity, yeah.
So look, so what you said, basically, I like how you brought out the law, right? It's gonna really be up to a judge. It, based on what evidence they have, is that look, he's saying out of his mouth they had an altercation, right? They just didn't expect somebody to take it way beyond where they was going with it, right?
Well, who
So
would expect that kids at
of course
school?
they're not going to expect it. I'm not saying they're supposed to, right? But so it's just going to be this arbitrary standard to say what's acceptable reaction. So like we don't know what happened. What if the dude slapped him, right? Bam, slap him, get out of here, right? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But what? So so it's a limit to his reaction from him getting a guy maybe pushing him. Like what is he?
Very
He
much
needs
so.
to
There's a
think
limit.
about.
Yeah, yeah. There's very much so. There's a limit to your reaction. Yeah, you can do you can respond with unreasonable force by law. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that he did the. Please understand, I'm not saying he did the right thing, but I'm saying if they're going to have this stand your ground type of legislation and these type of laws to say you can protect yourself from assault, right? Like that's a hard, it's that's a big gray area, right? That's what I'm really saying. That's a huge gray area, right? And we know through our history in the criminal justice system that when those gray areas exist, who get the shit in the stick? Like just like the 5 to 99 law rule, right? Like we know why is it 5 to 99?
I'm with you on all of this, man. But it's like I don't want to broaden it up to expand it out to how unjust it is when it comes to blacks as opposed to whites and all of this. I kind of want to just focus on this situation here because we don't know how the law going to play out for him. But
Oh,
my
it's gonna play out.
argument,
Yeah, we do. It's gonna play out bad.
but my argument that I've been having all day, East Atlanta said it's the interpretation of the law is the deciding factor. Infamous says, in my early 20s, I used to carry knives all the time due to me leaving one job to the next at night. I was petrified of carrying it, but I did anyway. Facts, man. We all have a history of maybe carrying weapons or whatever, you know what I'm saying, to defend ourselves, you know. But what was I saying? It's like I had a conversation today with someone, and they asked me, "Why are you defending uh, Austin?" And I went on to explain to this person that I'm not defending Austin at all because really I don't know what Austin did. You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what Austin did. All I know is what's being said from people, I guess, on his side, witnesses supposedly, and I know what people are saying that's supposed to be on Carmelo's side. I haven't seen anyone, parents or anyone from
Man,
Carmelo, go to the media or even social media. You understand what I'm saying? To let their voice be heard, to put things in proper context about what took place. Maybe they're afraid for their safety. I don't know. You understand what I'm saying? So all I can go off of what I do know, and that doesn't mean I'm defending, Austin because I don't know what Austin did, but I do know what Carmelo did. And based off what I know that Carmelo did, and the little knowledge that I have of the law, I think that it warranted this particular charge based
well,
off my experience as well.
okay. So look, let's talk about that. So that's where these 5 to 99s come in because look, you, the fact of the matter is, one young man is gone, and one young man is still here. That's fact, right? Okay. So I do believe that the young man should pay some level of penalty. My personal beliefs, right? But that level of penalty is gonna have a lot to do with the circumstances that involved, right? If it comes out that he wasn't the aggressor and all that, and they were, well, that weighs into like that should weigh into the penalty he faces.
Me understanding how these things normally work out, it's not just the incident that took place, but it's the message that they also want to send. And what message will you be sending to other students that may consider bringing a gun to school? You know what I mean? Luckily, he just brought a knife. You know what I mean? Well, what message are you going to send to students that may bring a gun to school? You know what I mean? Or even moving forward, you're going to have to send a message that, look, any weapons, anything of this nature at school is not tolerated. You understand what I'm saying? So they're gonna definitely send that message, regardless of what everybody else think and all this other type of stuff. They're definitely gonna send that message. No weapons are to be brought to school. Y'all kids, if y'all
So
fight,
look, so you saying that they should send that message, or what? Like, what's? I mean, we understand what they're probably going to do, but
I think that
what is the most what's the most balanced thing to do? Because circumstances do matter. They do matter when all of this. It's one thing to just walk up to somebody and do something to them with no provocation, right? Versus somebody attacking you or manhandling you, and then you react, right? Those are two different things, right?
I agree. But I think personally a message has to be sent. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, a message has to be sent. Why? I don't even have kids that are in school, but I have grandkids that are going to grow up and go to school. I have a couple grandkids that are in high school, actually go to school in Frisco. You know what I mean? What if that was her? That they started arguing and had a fight or whatever, he pulled out a knife and stabbed her in the heart. You know, would I be still wanting people to run around claiming how good of a kid he was if that was my granddaughter? Or would I want justice for my granddaughter? So you have to send that message for the next kid that may come along and think it's acceptable to bring a weapon to school and use that weapon if they feel bullied or so on and so forth. And also lay out the fact that if you're having any problems with anybody, that's why you got teachers. You have those in position of authority to go to, you know? And they also got to be taught that, look, weigh the consequences, weigh the situation. You know what I mean? Learn how to walk away. See, I had to learn that the hard way. You see what I'm saying? By not willing to walk away or not understanding how to weigh the consequences. I learned that the hard way. Therefore, I had no younger years of my life. You know, so a message has to be sent. Because I guarantee you, if any one of those kids that we've seen over the years, you know, would take them guns, this, that, and another, they wouldn't just walk away without severe punishment in school. We're talking about at school here. We ain't talking about a rally. We ain't talking about a club. No, we're talking about at school where kids should feel safe. They shouldn't have to worry about if they get in an argument with somebody or a fight or whatever, somebody gonna pull out a knife and stab them or shoot them. We're talking about a school event here, man. So yeah, a message has to be sent because I got kids and grandkids that are gonna grow up and have to go to school, you know? And that's how I feel about it. It may not be the most popular coming from somebody that, you know, done been through this, been in prison and all this type of stuff, and he black, but yeah, a message has to be sent. Whether it was a day, two of them put their hands on them or whatever it was, you know, you have to be taught, man, that look, weigh the consequences, man. You can't go that far. You get your butt beat or whatever, you live to see another day, you're still free, and they'll get in trouble. They'll get punished for it. But this right here, oh, bro, that's very unacceptable, man. And you had to have some type of thought process with carrying it when you left the house. But anyway, from what I'm seeing, I think a lot of what's contributing to this type of stuff, man, is I saw something, and to me, it was like people are getting away from what this should really be about, the teaching moment and all of this, and they're blowing it up to this racial thing, and white people getting mad here and blacks getting mad here. And we talked about that the other day, how it can grow into something bigger and bigger. You know what I'm saying? And I saw this today, and I was like, man, this is crazy. Like this adds to the drama, adds to the risk, things of this nature.
Calf, a gun-toting thug who was stabbed to death after approaching high school athlete Karmelo Anthony, assaulting him and using racial slurs. Karmelo feared for his life and acted in self-defense. He must be freed now.
And it was like, to me, what was the point of that? You know what I'm saying? And
Man, this is the world we live in, right? This is it's the internet era, so everybody gonna pick a side real fast for some views and clicks.
but as opposed to this.
It's very unfortunate that this other child decided to make a bad choice that's going to affect him for the rest of his life. I have compassion for every human being. This is not, I want to make this very clear. This is not a race issue. This is not a black and white issue. I don't want someone stepping up on a soapbox trying to politicize this. I don't appreciate some of the remarks I've seen online that people say there was this fight and they don't know, they weren't there. I know the truth. So unless you were there, unless you saw it, don't spread gossip.
Just to ask you this one question, like I had mentioned, the self-defense argument made by the suspect, what's your reaction to that if that's used in court or used?
As a defense attorney, they're going to try every avenue. That's their job. The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own son told me what happened. There was never a punch even thrown. So I don't care. There was never a phone broken. We've never had contact with this individual ever. So unless you were there, I don't appreciate all the gossip and all the mistruths that people are speaking at this moment.
Is that shocking to hear or read, or at least hear from me, say that that's what he told police after that moment?
No, what do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're gonna do is try to lie your way out of it. Now, I'm not saying he's a liar, but the truth and the facts, justice will prevail. It has nothing to do with me.
Now, I think the father stayed pretty composed considering, he lost his son. You understand what I'm saying? I think he said some things that we all should take heed of, that I understood off top, that this is not a race thing. You know what I mean? But we continue to try to make it a race thing. We continue to try to say what the system is going to do and all of this type of stuff, where it's not a race thing.
Hey, the father was commendable. That was he's a strong person, but I disagree with you totally. Whenever we involved, it's always a race issue because they don't leave race out of it. It's not that, and we're so keenly aware of it that we know that's why it becomes an issue when it's a black and white thing, because we know it's going to be a difference. Short story. When I was in the joint, I would sit around and talk to guys, right, to get just to see, you sit down and just ride with dudes just to, get some insight on their life, right, help pass time, right. So I would ask, at this time I'm like in my early 30s, so I'm old to these young 21-year-olds, right. So I'm talking to these dudes and like I'm asking them, why they talking about their robbery stories. They always robbing people in their neighborhood, right? And I'm like, well, why don't y'all ever go to like the rich town when the white folks say, wow, man, they gonna give you 100 years over there, right? Versus the 5 years they get for running somebody's house in the neighborhood, right? So race always plays a factor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but let's talk about this situation.
That's
How
what I'm
does
saying.
race,
It plays a
because it
factor
was a
all
black
the
kid and a
time.
white kid, race plays a factor?
It's gonna always play a factor when we involved as a people. That's why black people respond so much because the if the black on black crime, they know it's gonna be treated on a certain. It's gonna be kind of
So
the
this would
same
be
level.
looked at differently if Austin was black and they had altercation and he stabbed Austin, black Austin, this would be looked at differently.
Yeah, for sure. I do believe it. You think
By who?
by the media?
At school?
You don't think the media
You
coverage of the whole case
ain't
would be
talking about no
different?
gang banging kids in the hood and
It don't
we
matter,
talking about at school. This would
bro.
be looked at.
Whenever we involved, it's racist. Race comes in and changes the game. It plays a part in all of it, right? And it's not by us. We don't have a choice. This is how it is. That's how things are affected when we come. We understand it's not going to be a normal situation, right?
What would be different if that was a black kid? If Austin was a black kid, what would be different?
The coverage would be different. It wouldn't be as big as media coverage. Black kids kill black kids all the time.
At a school? It wouldn't be this type of media coverage?
I mean,
Nah, nah. I disagree with that. It would be this type of media coverage, definitely. Now, whether it lasts long, now that's a different question. But I think it would definitely be this type of media coverage. Why? Because there are white kids that go to that school too, and other black kids, and people would think that damn, this could happen to my child. You
I
know,
mean, this stuff happens to schools all the time nowadays. Like, if really, right? That's why the schools on lockdown and all that, right? That's you got if you look up, it's hundreds of school shootings each year, right? So, I mean, this happens. Uh, I mean, of course, it's polarizing, but like,
he's been,
I like what his father said. Let it play out in court because nobody knows what happened. Like, I can't say
well, he
that.
say he know. He say he
But
know.
was he there?
Well, what I'm saying, like, I know he's speaking from emotions and what his son told him, maybe
Yeah,
some other
like
kids.
it's gonna,
It
it's gonna
stands
take.
the risk of being kind of fabricated by other kids, you know what I mean? His friends or whatever that may have been around. I get that. You know what I mean? I get that.
I mean, who knows? I mean, once the real altercation story, if it wasn't no punches thrown, yeah, this dude's probably out of there. I mean, he's out of there anyway. Of- But I can understand the people's uproar a little bit about like, really let it play out. I mean, he's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. That's all. I didn't make the rules.
But
I
you
just
gotta
live here.
understand, people uproar, bro. The majority of the black people that I see talking about this, their uproar is about how he's being portrayed in the media, his character. You
Yeah,
understand what
because look, because once look like because the little white girl, I don't know if you peeped when she was doing the interview, right? She says when she was talking to the son, and he was talking about, yeah, look, altercation and stuff, and she was like, yeah, it was senseless, right? She's already made a judgment on what happened in the situation.
but it was senseless. We can agree on that.
Man, no, that's according to our perspective. We don't know if this, I don't know what happened. That's what I'm
Bro,
saying. Like,
anytime,
how can it be senseless? We don't know what happened.
no, it was very senseless. It was senseless to carry a knife to school off top. That was senseless. It was senseless if there was a physical altercation, a fight, or whatever, to pull out a knife and stab a kid. That was senseless. It was senseless to throw your whole life away if you this upstanding student with a 3 point something GPA, a football star, scholarships, offers, and all of this. It was senseless to do that. That was senseless. We can agree on that. So she ain't saying something that, you know,
I've been
anybody
so
that
once
listens
again, you're
don't
telling
think
me
it's
you're
senseless.
so once so what look so once again you're saying, and I'm not saying this happened, but you're saying it's okay. Like if yes, look, so yeah, he shouldn't be carrying a knife, but you're saying if two dudes jump on me, right? It's all right that they kick my ass and I don't defend myself with this knife if I so that I'm not supposed to have. That's what you're saying.
No, no. What I'm saying is,
What happened? I'm saying what's the problem? The problem was, and I don't know if this little kid's state of mind. If he had just cut the kid, this would be nothing, right? You see what I'm saying? Like if he had just cut the dude's arm and ran, whatever, it would he'll be in some trouble because he shouldn't have had the knife on his campus. Blase, blah, that's major. But if they got into an altercation and he had just cut the dude and it'd be a nothing burger, right? He'll be in it, but it went beyond. Now, what was his intention? Was it did he intentionally wanted to go that way? Go that route? I don't know. And it did go that way. So his intentions don't even matter. So, but all those things, the circumstances are going to play a part, and they should play a part, right?
when you look at the law, back to the law, Texas Penal Code 19.02, which defines murder. If you intend to knowingly cause serious bodily injury that results in a person death, that's murder. If you understand what I'm saying? If you intend to cause serious bodily injury, so if we're gonna question intent, you carrying a knife to school and y'all in a fight or whatever, you pulling it out, well, you intend to cause bodily injury to him.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So,
but circumstances do matter.
I don't think in a situation that does. It ain't like you a grown man. You ain't at no school or nothing like that. You carry a knife on you for protection. You getting jumped by some dudes. You pull that knife out and you stab one of them dudes or whatever. Different circumstance. You know what I mean? We're talking about at school where there should be no knives, weapons, and some kids or whatever. That kids fight, kids get into things like that.
Yeah. So you're talking about the presumption of safety in the school spaces, right?
Exactly. And an example it has to be set, man. You know what I mean? It has to be set. These things take place. It should cause parents to sit down with their kids and tell them what to do if they're being bullied or they get into an altercation at school or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I've heard he was having problems before, being bullied, by these guys or whatever. I don't know. But kids got to feel comfortable enough to come talk to adults about problems that they having. And from what I heard, he come from a good family and all these type of things. And just the fact that he's a star football player with scholarship offers.
Yeah, he should never have this knife.
Why is he carrying a knife?
Why he even carrying his knife?
Salute.
Why is he carrying any weapons?
You know what I mean? So, an example is, it's going to be made here, man. And it's a tragic situation. And I'm going to say this too, man. We as Black people, we understand how the system is, and when something happens, we'll pop out and voice our opinions and want to protest and support and all these type of things. And it's like a cycle. Every few years, or every other year, something happens, and here we go. Want to be unified about that issue and how the system is, and all these other things. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, say, a woman, she's in an abusive relationship. You know what I mean? And this guy is just doing bad things to her husband or whatever, over and over and over, all the time and all the time. Then people wonder, like, leave him. Won't you just leave him? But then she'll find the excuse with, no, he pays the bills. He takes me out sometimes. He'll buy me something. But she steadily make excuses to stay with him. And that's Black people in America. If we understand all of this stuff, why we not leaving? Why we are so afraid to leave? So obviously we want this abuse. We want this injustice because we won't leave. We don't think it's better anywhere else. So we're willing to put up with all these things that we know that are wrong. We willing to put up with all this stuff that we claim that the white man do, that the system do, and all of this type of stuff, and we won't leave. And that's why I get sick of hearing it. I get sick of being on this roller coaster, this same cycle that we go through. And you couple that with the fact that we ain't always right ourselves. You know, whether we like the laws or not, bro, there's laws. You know what I mean? And not knowing the laws is no excuse, is no defense. Now, I'm not speaking about these kids. I'm speaking about the people in general. There are laws, whether we like them or not. So we better off trying to abide by them. If we don't like them, then get together, try to change the legislation or whatever it is. But I'm sick of hearing about how bad we are being treated by the system and the opportunities, no opportunities here, and our socioeconomic conditions. I'm sick of hearing all that type of stuff, bro. And we won't leave. We won't do anything about it. We find an excuse to stay here. So if you're going to find an excuse to stay in an abusive relationship, then what you want everybody to do? When you make an excuse to stay in it. Because that man ain't going to change. All of a sudden stop putting his hands on you until you make him miss you. Then if he go on, change his life or whatever, then cool. But we won't even leave this abusive relationship. We'd rather sit around and complain about being abused. And I don't get that. I just don't get it.
Yeah, that's heavy. That's fact, though. We love the abuse.
Yeah, we love it. Why? Because we see, you know, we thinking we still got this American dream, you know what I mean? And we done been pacified with these so-called comforts. You know what I mean? We can still enjoy ourselves. We can watch, you know, TVs and movies and go out this place and get the bag and all this type of stuff, but still complain about how we being treated. Well, that comes with getting the bag and these enjoyments, these conveniences and luxuries and things that we think we have. And this is why we are not even equipped mentally to even create serious dissent or protest, man. We ain't thinkers. And when we try to create dissent and protest, all of this has been manufactured and can only go so far before they say, okay, enough is enough. So let's stop crying about the shit and accept the situation that we in and live with it. Other than that, get out the relationship. Infamous says, no, so many people left their abuser and got unalive. The small thing is to leave, but leaving can be dangerous. I'm not talking about, I made the analogy far as the way black people complain about how America treats us and the system is unjust and all these different things that go on that we feel like work against us, and we won't leave. We'll stay in the relationship and rather complain, just like a woman that may be going through that, her feelings are involved or whatever, she'll stay in the relationship and won't leave. You don't know if you're going to be unalive leaving a relationship until you leave. You got to leave first. You know, in a relationship, you know, she got authorities that she can go to try to take care of this individual that's abusing her. Where in this relationship with America as a people, what authorities can we go to? If we being abused as we think we are, we say we are, or being treated unjustly as we say we are, what authorities can we go to? So our only option is we don't want this abuse. But we're afraid to leave. So stop complaining. Stop popping up every time something happens, hollering racism. Stop it. I don't want to hear that shit no more. Accept the fact this is what the system is, and whatever happens. And you know, that's just my take on it. You know?
Well, we're gonna see. I'm just gonna be in the news for a while. I mean, maybe like terrible tragedy for both families. Heart goes out to them. I know that they both devastated.
You know, and you know, and I ain't gonna stay much longer. How long we been on here? About an hour and 19 minutes, maybe about 10 more minutes. And what gets me, man, like I said on the live earlier, we don't want to deal with the root of a lot of these issues, man. The cause behind a lot of these issues, the mentality that our kids may feel like that they have to have, the influences. We don't want to deal with those things, whether it's a lack of attention or at home or whatever, or whether it's the music or social media, the things they see or whatever, to make them feel like they have to be aggressive. You know what I mean? Or they have to stand, you know, stand on business. You know what I mean? 10 toes down. You know, all these things that that drill into their heads. We don't want to address those issues. We rather wait till something happen and then start talking about it. I've been on here over and over and over asking people to join Panic so we can at least try to, address one influencer upon our kids. No, I can't get anybody to sign up for that. You
Now
know?
look, let me say this, and I ain't trying to make excuses for people, but I mean, America is an expensive place to live. And you see all this craziness going on with this market. It's going to get rougher, right?
Yeah.
So America's already an expensive place to live. So most people, you got to think, most people. That's what's so wild. People on Instagram and they be kind of like all these fake lives they watching, but most people ain't living like they got to work all the time to sustain a lifestyle, right? So when you're as a parent, you have doing all this work. I mean, your kids are just getting raised by the media to a degree, right? Because like you don't have, I mean, you work, you have to work all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and the finances become paramount, right? And you believe you may even be providing a good structure, which you are. Probably is a good household, good neighborhood. But they not, it's only so much time in a day, right? And if you're not pumping this information into this child, he's get him or her, they're getting programmed from somewhere. But
Yeah.
I can see though, like it's not that much time in a day. Look, man, it's just me, and I don't feel like I have enough time sometimes, right? So
Right.
So if I had some kids, I'm like, ooh, right,
I tell you.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Then all they can go into family structure and all these type of things. There's various reasons or whatever. But we have to either start trying to address some of these things from the root of it, or sit back and let these things happen. Not every time something happen, pop up and want to holler the system and racism. How
Yeah,
we
you
being
saying we need
treated.
to be more proactive as a whole.
Definitely,
Yeah,
definitely, man.
yeah,
You know,
you're right. And
I'm
yeah,
I'm sick of it, man. I seen something. Here come Black Lives Matter on this issue. Like, bro, stop. Where's everybody? Like when we steady talking about, man, let's do something to address these kids out here gunning each other down these streets, these young niggas, YNs and all this. You understand what I'm saying? Where y'all? Where are you? But this issue right here, now that this white kid is involved, we want to have something to say.
yeah, that's heavy,
Yeah,
right?
stop the cap. I'm sick of it, man.
Nah, but keep pumping. They gonna start signing up. It starts with a few. It's like a snowball. You got to keep pushing the envelope. But yeah, that is tragic, right? They're like, we'll just move on with everyday life if black on black thing.
But I'm gonna get ready to get off here. But I want to I want to address, like we talked about. We had the last live about the tragedy in Frisco, and Miss Tammy had got up here, and because we were talking about the experiences of these when you're young and you go to prison, things we've seen from teenagers coming in, the cultural shock of prison, as well as the day-to-day things that they may experience. And she gave us a story, her concern about her grandson and all those things, and from that, a great idea was formulated, and you came up with a great idea, and it's something that we should move forward with. And if you want to share exactly what it is that we'll be doing, and what we're starting, and all of this, man, it's the perfect time to do so.
Nah, yeah, for sure. So it was just so powerful listening to Miss Tammy, and so I was just thinking about the fact that so many people have these experiences with being incarcerated, whether being incarcerated themselves or the family members. But most of the time, you only hear about people being incarcerated, and they'll get out here and tell their war stories and what have you, right? But you never get the experience from the mother or the girlfriend or the child growing up without her mother or father, and to hear like, how that affected them and like how that touched their lives. Like I look, for example, I seen the homeboy of mine. I was around him and his son one time, and I was like, and he asked me in front of me. He was like, "Look, how was it without me being around?" Because he hadn't been around for like 10 years, and he was like, "Look, man, it's weird because like I don't even really know my father, right?" And I was like, "Damn." So I thought it'd be good to hear like the experiences and the stories from the family members' perspective, like how they had to deal, like even like this kid that we just talking about. Like think about what his family is going through, right?
Yep.
They trying to ration out their mind, like we talking about it then, like what really happened? Did he really, they still trying to figure out and even deal with this. It's just traumatic, right? So I think it'd be good to hear, their perspectives.
So, and with that, we'll have a channel, on social media, YouTube, and everything called the incarceration effect. And what we'll be doing is getting parents, wives, girlfriends, or whatever that have people incarcerated or had people incarcerated, and have them come up and truly express what they went through having someone that they cared about that's incarcerated, especially children, or they may be adults now, whatever, that had a parent incarcerated, and how that affected their lives. Because I know, at the time I only, I had four or whatever, and I know my guilt is that, I wasn't there through those, formative years, and what maybe, and they have all turned out to be, great people, great adults, even my other one that I met when I got out, but I know that things would have been different. Some of their struggles, some of their problems, and all these things would have been different if I was there those 25 years of their life that I missed. So we want to get people up that talk about this, talk about your experience, talk about what you felt, some of the things you went through, or the things that you think you wouldn't have had to go through if your dad or your mom wasn't incarcerated. So we're gonna be having this channel. It's called the incarceration effect, and these stories are from people. Salute, Queen 88. And these stories, everyone, they're all over this country, man. And so we hopefully will, build this platform to where people will get up and discuss these things, as well as, if they want insight into what they can do about their loved one that's incarcerated right now, and I'm not qualified to give legal advice. You know what I mean? I'm not a lawyer, but I do know some things about law. You know what I'm saying? So, or they can take something from my situation with dealing with my lawyer and judges and courts and the filing appeal process and all these things. So we'll be discussing all those things on the incarceration effect. We should have this up running within the next couple of days, and we'll be sharing it, on our personal social media platforms, as well as I'm pretty sure, my daughter Queen 88 will help share this as well. So that's another thing that we're going to be doing, because ultimately what we want to do is give back, give our knowledge, our skills, and allow people to see that, look, you're not the only one in this country that's going through this. You always have someone that you can turn to, talk to, and so on and so forth, with dealing with having a loved one that's incarcerated or that has been incarcerated. Even stories about when that person got out. You know what I mean? What you expect, or was it what you expected? You know what I'm saying? So we'll be discussing all those things on the incarceration effect. With that being said, bro, anything else that you want to close out on or discuss?
Nah, man. I mean, these are heavy times we're living in, so that we need to build as a community and try to push through and move forward.
I want to read what Infamous says here before we go. It says social media is a joke to a lot of us, but when we come across good content, we suspect and hesitant to believe in the cause. Facts, man. Facts. It's like I was speaking about the other day in the opening live, man. Both words are spelled the same, content and content. You know what I'm saying? And most of what we get is content. You know what I mean? It's to make you content creators, not content creator. Content should be edifying or educational, you know what I mean? Pushing the envelope forward more so than just making you relax, be comatose and not dealing with these issues that we face on a day-to-day basis. So what we try to bring to these to this platform is content and not something that's just gonna make you content or something to do, while you don't have anything else to do. But yeah, bro, I'm gonna get out of here, man. I appreciate you as always for tapping in, giving your opinion, your side of it, but we'll see what the outcome be, man. You know what I mean?
And I appreciate you, man. It's heavy. All right, we come out.
For sure. I'll holler at you. Yeah, again, man, I like to show my appreciation to the people that came through on Facebook, as well as on YouTube. I appreciate everyone. It's a process of building, of getting people to see that, look, this ain't about, revenue or whatever with me. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong, I need it badly, but at the same time, I sitting on the things that or the potential that you have to change somebody's life, it serves no purpose because I got to visit the grave, and these things that I leave behind, whether it's on social media, good deeds or what have you, are the more meaningful things. And with that being said, like I really, really appreciate everybody, and I don't know when we'll be back doing this because like we're going to be working on the incarceration effect, and we'll have some good stuff coming up. So y'all like, share, subscribe. You can also go subscribe to my daughter. She always has good content. It may get wild sometimes, but majority of the time there's a lot of people there, and they discuss various things. You know what I mean? You can check her out at what is it, CC Unapologetic Queen 88. One of the biggest female blogger in DFW area. You know what I mean? Steadily growing. So you can go over there, check out some of her content, and with that being said, man, I just want everybody to be safe. No matter how we feel about this situation with the tragedy in Frisco, at the same time, people may not be as rational about it as I am. You know what I mean? And so you got to be vigilant, be aware. There's some people out here that want blood behind the situation, and they don't care who they put their hands on or weapons or whatever. So we living in some turbulent times. So always stay vigilant, man. Do your best to be a good person. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just stay vigilant, man, because it's rough out here. But again, salute to everybody. Peace out.
left foot, then turn with it. Now flex, come on, flex. Let's go. Back it up, back it up, back it up, then turn to the left. Let's go. Slide to the right, slide to the left. Right foot, left foot, then turn. Right foot, left foot.